Hi everyone, this is Maureen Wong for YourNextStamp.com. Today I want to share a little bit about how to use the Tearaway Tab Die from Your Next Stamp. And here it is. It's just this one die that makes a tearaway tab, and you can put this tab anywhere on a card or a panel that you attach to a card. You can make it almost any length you want, up to a full-size card. This is an A2 size card, and you can see that it's actually just a little bit longer than the A2 card. So this is a really great die. There are many ways to use this die, but today I'm just going to show you one way. And another die I'm going to be using today is this plain rectangle from the Peekaboo Tearaway Door die set, which is a set of 3 dies, and this is one of them. Now what I'm going to do is get out my die cutting machine and take you through the process. Okay, what I have for you is a piece of purple cardstock, and I'm going to cut that rectangular die out of the purple cardstock first. Next, I'm going to take that same die and a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to run that through. And for my card today, or at least the panel that I'm showing you, I'm planning to have the white piece of cardstock on the top. So that's the one that I'm going to run through with the Tearaway Tab die. Now what I do is I get my cardstock. This is the panel that I just cut with the Peekaboo Tearaway Door die, and I'm going to figure out where I want my Tearaway tab to go. And I'm thinking I want it right there. And I am using the magnetic platform today. If you don't have a magnetic platform, just go ahead and put down a piece of slightly sticky tape to hold that in place while you die cut it. And I am also using the Silly Monsters clear set, so I'm going to check and make sure I have enough space on the top to stamp my Silly Monster, and I do. So that's a good placement. So I'm going to go ahead and run that through my machine. Now let me put my machine away. And you can see that a tearaway tab has been created in this card. And it has a tiny little opening for you to stick your finger in to tear away the tab. Now I'm going to get my piece of purple cardstock. And these are my 2 pieces. You can see they're exactly the same size because I cut them with the same die. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to make a real card for you, but I'm just going to show you really quickly the idea behind this die. So I've got one of my Silly Monsters, and I'm going to stamp it on the white cardstock above the tearaway tab. Like so. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sentiment "Roar, Hello in Monster," and I'm actually going to cut it in half because I want part of the sentiment to be on the top and part of the sentiment to be on the bottom of the tearaway die. Now if you don't want to cut your stamps, I understand that, and what you can do is just selectively ink the parts you want and use them one by one, but I find it's very easy to cut stamps apart and use them separately that way. So I'm just taking my scissors here. Actually, let me go from this side. And don't worry, I'm not hurting the stamp at all. And if I want to stamp them together, I can just go ahead and position them together like so, back on my acrylic block, and they will stamp perfectly together. But now I can stamp them apart, which is what I want for today. So I'm going to take the first half of the sentiment, which is the "Roar." Oops. And I'm going to stamp that right onto the Tearaway tab. Now comes the back panel. What we're going to do is take a pencil, and you're going to take this and what I'm doing is, oops, I didn't let my ink dry, so it smeared a little. I'm going to leave just a little bit of that purple cardstock sticking out. You can see that behind the white cardstock. And I'm going to take a pencil and lightly mark around the lines on the die. And what I'm also going to do is take this side and mark around the edges of where the edges of the die would be. Now if you want to go ahead and join those lines up with a ruler, you can, or you can eyeball it, or you can just leave them without the line, and you just know that you're stamping between those two lines. Let me make that a little darker so you can see it better. So this is basically where my Tearaway tab is on the top part of the panel. So when I stamp my second portion of the sentiment, I'm going to make sure that it's centered within those lines. And there you can see the hello in monster. Okay, now to assemble my panels, I'm going to need some very strong adhesive. And today I'm using my ATG gun. You can use double stick tape, red liner tape, liquid glue, anything that's going to be strong enough to hold this together to make sure that when your recipient is ripping open the Tearaway tab, that the rest of the whole panel doesn't come up with it. So where you're going to put your adhesive is all the way around the tab here, if you can fit it here, all the way around here, and then some extra on the top. So I'm going to run my adhesive. Make sure I get it right around the tab so it doesn't pull up, and then I'm going to put a little bit extra on the top so that doesn't come up. And then I'm going to adhere it right on top of that purple panel. Okay, and then what I can do is actually mat this or do whatever I want and place it on my A2 card or whatever card I'm doing. This is just to show you the Tearaway tab portion. And so when your recipient gets it, make sure when you put it together that you press down on all the adhesive really well to make sure that it sticks. So when your recipient gets it, they just stick their finger in that little hole and they can pull it back, and of course the front says RAR, and when they pull off the tab, there's your hello in monster. Now what I didn't do today is erase the lines, and you want to do that. I couldn't erase them because I wrote them in really dark and they wouldn't come out anyway. But what you'll want to do is erase those lines before you adhere it together, and then you can make sure that none of it shows through like mine shows through here. So that's a really fun Tearaway tab die from Your Next Stamp. I hope you enjoy your dies, and thank you very much for watching.